All right, let's just get right into it. If you build AI automations for clients, you know that feeling. That feeling of hitting a wall. You start a project, it's fast, it's profitable, but then as you scale up, things get messy and way more expensive than you thought. So, in this explainer, we're going to break down the real-world economics of automation, comparing those no-code tools you start with to the code-first stack you might need to really grow.
And this quote, this just nails the feeling, doesn't it? It's that moment the dream gets a little shaky. You've built this incredible thing for a client. They absolutely love it. The volume just skyrockets. And then you look at your bill from Zapier or Make. The costs are creeping up, things are starting to break, and that really healthy profit margin, it's just vanishing. It's a classic scaling problem.
And look, these are the exact pains I hear about all the time. Task costs just stack up out of nowhere. Workflows that have to jump between different tools add lag, which is an absolute killer for things like lead response time. Then you have connectors that fail silently, and you don't even know about it until your client's on the phone. And maybe the worst part of all, trying to have that conversation with your client about why their bill just keeps going up. It's tough, and it just eats away at the trust you've built.
So, here's our plan. First, we're going to talk about what I call the no-code ceiling. Then, we'll get into the metrics that really matter for your bottom line. After that, we're going to do a direct head-to-head showdown on the costs. We'll look at the long-term win, the ROI, and then we'll wrap it all up with a blueprint you can actually use.
Okay, let's be super clear about something. No-code tools are fantastic. I mean, they're unbeatable for testing an idea, for building a quick proof of concept, and for getting something out the door incredibly fast. But every tool has a point where the very thing that makes it easy to use becomes a bottleneck for performance and cost. And that, right there, is the no-code ceiling. So how do you know if you're hitting that ceiling? Well, you have to stop guessing and you have to start measuring. We need to move past just looking at the number of tasks and start digging into the key performance indicators, the KPIs, that are directly tied to your profitability and the quality of service you're giving your clients. Now, what's so cool is how these 5 metrics all connect with each other. It all starts with cost per task. That's the obvious one, the direct hit to your margin. But then you've got P95 latency, which is all about your client's experience. A slow automation can kill their conversion rates. And that flows right into your success rate. How reliable are you? These first 3 then determine your automation coverage, which is the core value you're actually selling. And finally, when something does go wrong, and it will, MTTR tells you how much time your team is spending putting out fires instead of building cool new things. See? They paint the entire picture.
Okay, time to get into the actual numbers. We're going to look at a pretty common scenario for successful automation, a workflow that's hitting 100,000 tasks every single month. This is the point where the differences in costs really start to jump out at you.
All right, so for a standard no-code stack, something like Zapier or Make, once you add up the task volume, the complexity of all the steps, the polling triggers, you're looking at a monthly cost of somewhere between $1,600 and $2,800. That's a serious chunk of change month after month.
Now look at this. This is the contrast, a code-first stack built on really efficient infrastructure. We're talking a cheap server, a scalable database, a fast AI model. It handles the exact same 100,000 tasks for $75 to $250 a month. The difference is it's staggering. We are talking about a 90+% reduction in your operating costs. It's wild. And this table right here, it shows you it's not just about the money. Let's really walk through this. Your cost/task plummets by over 90%. That's just pure profit going right back into your business. Then look at latency. You go from maybe 15 seconds down to under 3. That is a game changer for user experience. Your success rate jumps up into the high 9s, which means way fewer panicked calls from clients. And my personal favorite, MTTR, mean time to resolution. When something breaks, you can fix it in minutes, not hours, because you have full control and can see everything. And while those monthly savings are amazing, the real story here is the long-term picture. We got to think about this in terms of total cost of ownership. That includes not just what you're paying every month, but the initial build cost, too. So here's the kicker. Yes, absolutely, the upfront cost to build a code-first solution is higher, no doubt about it. But when you look at it over 3 years, the total cost is way, way lower. In this example, you're saving almost $30,000 per client. That's profit you can pocket, or it's a cost saving you can pass on to your client to become an absolutely unbeatable partner for them. So, the data is pretty convincing, right? But the question is, what do you do about it? This is not about just throwing away your no-code tools. No way. It's about having a smart strategy to know when to use the right tool for the right job. So let's build that framework.
This pretty much lays it all out. No-code is your absolute champion for validating ideas, for low-volume stuff, and for when you just have to get something built like yesterday. But the second a workflow becomes a core, high-volume, recurring part of your business, especially if you're turning it into a product for multiple clients, the scale just tips so heavily toward code first. That's when you can offer that premium performance and reliability. And listen, you don't have to just take my word for any of this. You can prove it to yourself with a really simple, low-risk test. First, just start measuring your current system with those 5 KPIs. Then, build a code-first version for just one of your workflows. Run them side by side, look at the dashboards, and just let the data tell you the story. The results are going to give you all the ammo you need to make the case. So I'm just going to leave you with this one question. When you really look at the compound savings, the better performance, the improved reliability, the numbers are just impossible to ignore. By sticking with a no-code stack for your really high-volume, important automations, are you accidentally leaving 30 grand per client on the table every year? The answer to that could completely change how you build things for your clients starting tomorrow.